This is a demonstration of how we scale photo simulations that do not have a fixed landmark in them. For this photo simulation, we need to place a tower on this hillside, and it's going to look like a fake windmill. And there are no fixed landmarks, buildings, or power poles that we can use to place it. Yet, this is a photo simulation that's going to be used for planning and development, so we need to make it extremely accurate. So this demonstration is going to show how we place it on the hillside and make the tower match perfectly. When I was here taking the photograph, I also took a zoom photograph from the exact same location. And in that zoom photograph, you can see that there's a couple of red dots. These are balloons that were placed on the site. I hiked up here and placed 2 balloons on the upper location and 1 balloon on the lower location. These are 49 feet apart. And these balloons correspond to balloons that are placed in the 3D model. So here's the 3D model, and in this 3D model we've got the upper balloons and the lower balloons placed 49 feet apart. And this model is such that we can view it from every location and every viewpoint that we have, and it really doesn't need any other landmarks except these 2 balloons to place it. We use Google Earth to establish exactly how far away and what angle the photograph was taken, and even the elevation. So once this is established in the 3D model, we're able to get a rendered final image, and this is based on the stats from that first viewpoint. So what I'm going to do is take this rendered 3D image, drag it into our image that we're going to be using for photo simulations. And once this is in here, I need to be able to get the scale. So I'm going to bring in the zoomed in photograph. And now that that's in there, let's lower it down 1 level on the layers. Now that I've got this zoomed in image, I can take the model and scale it to match. Now notice what I'm looking at here are the balloons in the 3D model that are exactly 49 feet apart. I'm going to move it on top of the balloon that's there, and we're going to anchor that. And now that that's anchored, I'm watching this corner here, this red balloon, and I'm going to scale it down to the other balloon that's on the hillside. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can make this extremely tight. So let's bring this in a little bit more and bring it down. So these balloons are going to match up perfectly. So let's adjust that point right there a little bit and scale it exactly. Now you can see the margin of error here is extremely tight. Now that these balloons match both 3D and the base image, we know that this is the exact location of the lease area and the tower and the equipment. We know that's exactly where it goes on the hillside, and there is no guesswork. There is no estimation. If this was over by 1 foot, it would be noticeable based on the balloons. So let's put this back where it was. This is in the exact location, but this is zoomed in so we get the tight detail. Now we're going to link these 2 layers together, and this lower layer we're going to cut the opacity in half so we can see through it. Now that we can see through it, we need to scale this down, and I'm going to pick something to scale to. Notice there's some trees or boulders or something in this base photograph, and there's those same objects in the wide angle photograph. Now I'm going to lay these on top of one another, and again set this as my anchor point. Now that that's in as an anchor point, I'm going to scale it down. You can see it at 1 point it matches up perfectly. If it's too small, it's obvious. If it's too large, it's obvious. Let's zoom in so we can get the tightest detail on this. Maybe not that close. And this is lined up to the underlying rock or tree or whatever that is, and we'll scale this so that it matches the mountains behind it. And you can see at one point it just gets clear there. It's got a bit of a starburst effect to it. This means it's not lined up perfectly. And once it comes into alignment, then everything gets crystal clear in the background. And you can see that clearness there just pop in. So this needs to rotate just a touch because my camera was rotated slightly when I took the zoom picture. And let's double check this by turning it off and on. I can shift it a little bit. Let's try that. And there, that's pretty darn close. Again, the margin of error is very tight. And since the background and the tower was locked together, then we know that the tower is scaled accurately to the background and to the balloons that were there. So this gives us the exact scale and placement of that tower on the landscape, and we can say with confidence that this is exactly where the tower is going to be, and that's how tall it will be, and that's how it will appear with that particular lighting. We label it and we're done. Hope you enjoyed this demonstration. Look for more in the future.